Hey guys, this is Rebel Trooper, and I am back. I came to talk about a deck that I played yesterday at a store championship. Let me preface this by was a very small store championship. It only had 9 players, had I think 7 meta decks, and 2 people that were experimenting with some other decks. I went undefeated to win first place, and let me secondarily say that this deck was derived from 2 other players' decks. First person that I would say is USS Gordon came up with the Talon double Mandalorian Commandos. So that's is kind of the same principle, except for I'm using Snoke for 1 extra point and the Executioner, which I saw this list. All I did was alter it to fit my playstyle a little bit more. I will have both of those linked at the bottom of this video. In the deck list that I saw, came from K. Javis, was his name on Star Wars Destiny DB, where you pull up deck list. I wasn't sure what I was going to play. I saw this list and then immediately caught my interest. I know because I've gotten slaughtered by Gordon's Towson double commando deck. And so I didn't want to run that, but I like playing Snoke, and his ability is super broken. I don't know if this is any better or worse, but I know Gordon's been working on the deck for a long time, and I saw this and I kind of went to it. So to start off, I went in with the idea that there was going to be plenty of mill, and there was. I played 2 matches in Swiss that were mill, and then in my top 4, I played a best of 3 against mill, but I won that in 2. So I went 4-0 against mill on the day. And I found just there's a lot of interesting things that Gordon did and this guy did that allowed you to survive mill fairly well. One was playing Mos Eisley Spaceport, where I can just pop an upgrade back into my hand, which doesn't always work on that last round if they still have a way to mill your hand. After they've decked you and gotten rid of your hand, you can't just claim if they can re-roll to enter that mill. But it is one more out that you have. So I thought that was nice enough because we're not really playing for my battlefield anyway, unless I'm playing against mill, and then I'll take mine, give them the shields, and that'll give me a good way to avoid getting milled out, hopefully, at the end of the round. So then here's the upgrades that I use for two-purpose, the commando, to proc his, in addition to the weapons that I play, to proc his equipment power action to just trickle that damage, and then to chance cube to pop that back into my hand to save myself from getting milled out, which I did in my second win in the semifinals match. Holocron similarly can swap that, but it's really a 1-for-1 anyway, so it's not quite as efficient to get not milled. But this Mandalorian Van Braces, to avoid getting milled when you have chance cube and Van Braces, and this, it is a lot of outs to play to for the mill. So anyway, pretty self-explanatory. Double focus on Snoke allows me to use chance cubes to get maximum value. Same with the Holocron, I can get out my force abilities, and the Van Braces is just no blank sides for 1, so you're always getting a return as soon as you drop this down. Here's my upgrade suite. So I got the 2 Force Illusions pretty standard, 2 Riot Batons, so that way I can throw them down on the commando. When he kills the commando, it moves over. Force Wave for the myriad of 3-character decks. I assumed that I would see Towson Commando and the 3 Anakin, Cassian, Yoda mill, which I played 3 times. This was a kind of a gut call just to get a little more punch in there and to help mitigate. So when I get that special, it's not going to help against like Yoda, but anytime somebody loses a dice off the table that didn't cost me anything, especially if I happen to get it for free with Holocron, it seemed like a good fit. I often have so much money in this deck, I found out, because with Snoke, when I roll in, oftentimes I'm trying to get that extra damage, right? Trying to get the 3 or the 4 from the Super Commando, but here I can get a 3 or 4 and 3 resources. So on top of the chance cube, there's been multiple times, I think 2 times in that tournament, where I went into round 2 after spending 2 or 3 resources the first round, with 8 resources starting the second round. So money's pay sides of Force Lightning aren't too big of a deal. and it allows you to just do one more thing to deliver a big old punch. Force push was really nice. It's just good utility and damage. So just constantly picking at them for 2 or milling their hand for 2 has been fantastic. Anything you can do to get rid of close quarters assaults, things of that nature. And then I used the special against the mill a couple of times to blank Force Meditation and turn Yoda's dice to a disrupt when I could either A, afford it, or B, didn't have any money. So the Force push was really nice. So that's the upgrade list. I oftentimes had to outright pay for the Force Wave. I'm not dependent on Holocron. It's there to make the deck more efficient, but also to give the equipment ping from the Mandalorian. So it doesn't need the Holocron. When it does get it, it's fantastic. The only thoughts for this would be maybe find another redeploy weapon. That way you don't lose the value of the Force Wave or the Force Lightning or the Force Push after one of your characters dies. Being able to have, if there was like another good weapon that was like a Z6, would be great. I mean, you could use the regular lightsaber, but I kind of feel like I don't love it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the original lightsaber should be in here, just to get the 2 unblockable, which is great around all the shields. And I don't play any shield hate, so it's something to think about. It's also got the 3-for-1, which is part of the reason why I play the Force Lightning, right? But then you got to think about what are you going to take out for it. It'd probably end up being 1 Force Lightning, 1 Force Push to play 2 lightsabers, and then you're only running 4 real abilities for the Holocron besides the illusions. So it might lower some of the efficiency. But did that, and here's the removal suite and actions. So right now it's, I think, running, 7, 8? So what do we got? 3, 7, 8, 9 removal cards. So we got 1 copy of the Best Defense, Feel Your Anger, 2 Doubts, 2 Hidden Motives, 1 Overconfidence, 1 Mind Trick, and 1 Flank. I felt like that was the right amount, that was the right number with how many mill that I played. I was loving the Best Defense. I don't know if I would love it quite so much if I was playing a lot of aggro. I played Plo, Padawan in the finals, 2 matches, and then once in Swiss, and it still came up useful to kind of mitigate all the pluses in that deck, so all the modified damage. I was able to snatch up the base damage. But I don't know if going to a second one's great. It depends on how much mill you anticipate playing. The 2 Best Defenses against mill would be fantastic, whereas not so great against the field of aggro. I went with 2 Rens. I didn't use them on the day, but that's because I didn't run into anybody else running Holocron. I didn't run into any Force Speed decks, and I didn't run into any Chance Cubes, which there's tremendous amount in the field right now. And I felt like having 2 Rend in there was the right move, even though I didn't run into them. I know that when I got played Rend against, it didn't feel fantastic, so I'm still keeping that in there for now. I think it's a good space, a good couple of weeks for Rend to be viable. And then Tactical Mastery. I don't play Force Speed, and maybe I should, but this deck isn't all about cheating actions until you need to cheat the actions. So when you get down to the wire, having that Tactical Mastery at my disposal helped me win a couple of games. And it didn't take up an upgrade slot. I had a 2 double Riot Baton and a Force Push or Lightning, I can't remember, Snoke. And it was getting down to we each had about 2 life left, 3 life left on his Plo Koon and my Snoke. And he would roll in, I Tactical Mastery, resolve my damage for the win. It's just another one of those things that it's all about timing. Getting the Force Speed special in the first round or 2 doesn't really do anything because this is not a very fast deck. You're not taking a ton of actions, but when you need to resolve something before they have a chance to mitigate it, that's what the Tactical Mastery is for. So all in all, it played very smooth. I think that this deck is pretty strong right now. Like I said, I don't know how strong it is compared to the Talzin Double Commando deck that has a little more life. The Executioner ability, if you remember it, it is clutch. There was a game where it was pretty even against the Anakin Yoda Cassian, and I was able to finish off Yoda with a 2 from the Executioner that I turned to a 4 from Snoke. That's 4 damage off the Executioner. Rolls back in, gets the 2 melee. Do it again to finish off Anakin. Rolls back in, gets a 2 for 1. I was able to get 8 damage off the Executioner in 1 round. that's a dream scenario, but just that re-efficiency of when you get a kill, getting more dice back out there and his 50-50 shot for damage. It also made me wonder if, when this is probably just me reaching because I had so many resources a lot of the times, was the, what is this? What am I looking at? The Executioner's Axe, that after you defeat, same ability basically, you get to reroll another dice back into the pool. It would be interesting. I don't know, maybe that's overkill, but it seemed like that was a pretty powerful ability to have. So I'll test a little bit with that. One of the things that I thought about was taking out Rend and putting in Bait and Switch. I didn't like it because the Mandalorian doesn't have any resources on his dice. And so it's inefficient there. But it really works for everything else. Snoke for the 2 focus. You have the Executioner that makes all 4 of his sides damage. I think there's, obviously the Chance Cube, which you probably wouldn't want to use it for, but if you need to get the Holocron ability out, probably wouldn't use it on the Van Braces, but the Rabaton, Force Wave, all have it. So the Lightning and the Push don't, but everything else would. So you could Bait and Switch into Tactical Mastery to resolve whatever you wanted to do. That way you could Snoke 2 focus and then use it. So that would be something that you could play with for the Rend spot. But I wanted to make sure I was prepared against other decks, other Thrawn, Snoke decks. Maybe the Kylo, Snoke or Price that uses holocrons, things of that nature. So the Executioner got a lot of value out of, which, who's to say, is that value the same or more of constantly pinging the damage from the Super Commando? If it was Super Commando into 2 of those in one Talon. Anyway, this is what I used. I played against a lot of mill, and I felt fairly comfortable in all the games. One of the finals games was pretty close. But like I said, there's so many tricks that you have. I can pull the Van Braces back up. I can activate. I just saved my activation, kept passing until they played an action to remove my last card through their claim, and then I activated, pulled up the Chance Cube. Was able to end it that round anyway, but I was going to win in the following round because I had the Chance Cube in my hand. Things that I noticed is, having Probe is fantastic right now to be able to pull out the hyperspace jump, so maybe trying to fit 2 probes in there. The free mitigation was great. Flank, I used it when I got it. Feel Your Anger is the one that's so situational that, especially with all the mill decks right now that have Yoda in it, you're not going to get very good value out of Feel Your Anger. But it's one of those cards that only costs 1, that when it hits, it can end a turn for your opponent. Anyway, it was very successful. I went undefeated on the day and got the win. But like I said, I got the original idea of the list was from USS Gordon, who manufactured this list a long time ago with the Talzin and 2 Commandos. And then, let me look up his name real fast, was, where are we at? Kay Javis is where I saw this particular character build with Mos Eisley Spaceport, which I immediately was like, that's fantastic for mill. And there's a lot of mill around right now because it's so strong. And so I went undefeated against mill, undefeated on the day. So I feel like this is a good counter to the mill that's going on right now. And then I cannot remember. Maybe I can pull up what his list was real fast. See some of the differences. Might not be all that different. I know I changed a couple of things, but I don't think it was anything super substantial. I think in his build, which, so this is mostly what he's using. He played 2 force speeds, which I didn't play, a force throw, which I didn't play. He only played 1 wave, which I was really against when I saw the list. Got to play 2. I think it's too good of a card right now. He plays 2 armor plating, which I could have justified a spot, but I didn't feel like I needed it. He plays All In, and I don't. He plays Enrage, and I don't. All In's fantastic, especially with the focus. But what I realized lately when I've been playing, I'm glad I pulled up this list so I can kind of talk about some of these things, is I don't want all my dice on the table. Mind Trick and Beguile right now are brutal. And people are using 1-cost mitigation to do 2 dice. So whether that's into the garbage chute or easy pickings, I don't want all my dice on the table. Flat out, I don't. So All In, it was kind of counteractive to the way that I want to play the game. I want to be able to roll out my Super Commando and really take advantage of Snoke's ability if I can. He's got 50% damage dice, so hopefully I can just go boom, 3-4 damage right out the gate. Then his dice are off the table, right? So when they do beguile me, or when they do entangle or easy pickings, which is really difficult to get off on this deck, which is really nice. This deck doesn't have a lot of easy pickings opportunities unless I have the Executioner loaded up with a Riot Baton. I try not to do that for that reason. If I can put it on the Commando, roll out the Commando, use my symbol on the Riot Baton, and then roll out the Executioner, completely avoids that easy picking. So hopefully it's a dead card in their hand. Easy pickings is one of those cards that when your opponent's playing it, they don't want to get rid of it. So if they haven't used it, they generally hold on to it for the next round, and they'll hold on to it 2 and 3 and 4 rounds in. And if you're not playing to get it used against you, that's a dead card in their hand. So they're not seeing as much of their deck, and they're end up pitching it to reroll. So it kind of plays against them because the card is so powerful that they don't want to get rid of it because they're not getting it back. So yeah, I don't play the all-in. I don't play the enraged because I didn't need the money at all. And then he plays Friends in Low Places, which is a fantastic card. But I feel like the Mandalorian goes down first, and so I didn't want spot yellow in my deck. And then I had to make room for Ren somewhere. He played 1 copy of Intimidate, and I didn't play any Shield Hate. I just felt like I could go through it after the tournament's over. I do see where it could be useful to have one in there. I just don't know where it would cut it. I haven't gotten that far yet. But yeah, I mean, so you're talking about the armor plating. So I guess there's about 10 cards difference in our build. Armor plating, force speeds, force, only 1 force wave. The force throw I don't play. All in I don't play. Enrage I don't play. Friends in Low Places that I don't play. And Intimidate I didn't play. So it's built a little different, but definitely came off of that cornerstone of his character list. And then I just adjusted it for my play style, and that's what I went with. So, hopefully this gives you a little insight on the way this deck plays. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask me. I'm not going to take credit for this on any level because I didn't come up with any of this. So good on the 2 gentlemen that did USS Gordon, who originally came up with the concept, and then another guy that built off of it into something else. But yeah, the cards that I think that should be in most people's deck right now is Rend. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people like Force Rend better, but I like 0 cost, get rid of a chance cube after they paid 1 for it, or Holocron before they're going to use it, or a force speed in all these decks that love to cheat actions, whether it's Snokecad, whether it's Obi-Maz, whether it's Yoda to Special Chain. Having access to get rid of it for free is fantastic. It might not be as flexible as Vandalize, but most of the time you're going to find yourself getting rid of that card, the 0 cost card anyway. And then, yeah, I mean, I think all in all, that's about it. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, send me a message. Check out my stream. Check out artificery.com. And thanks for watching, guys.